Just going to give it a couple of minutes more just to wait for the guys, I think. And we should start in about 2 minutes. Thank you. Just type them into the chat box at the bottom. If there's something you can't hear or you cannot see the screen, please let me know and we can correct this. Alternatively, we can start. So I'll just give it a minute. Okay, so we can start. If there's any questions, we're going to answer them at the end of the session. And you can also type in the chat box if you have anything that comes across, and we can have a look at them afterward when we read questions at the end. So welcome and thank you for taking the time to join me on this webinar. My name is Daniel, and the webinar is what's new in Inventor, Autodesk Inventor 2019.1. So for the Inventor users that want to know what's happening, what's been enhanced, and if there's any new features, this is a great way to actually find out what's new. The webinar is hosted by Baker Baines. We are an Autodesk Gold partner, and we host many of these webinar series on different products in manufacturing, different cross industry. So it's manufacturing, AEC build, infrastructure, as well as plant webinars. So without further ado, let's start the webinar. So if we look at a quick rundown of the agenda or what we're looking at, so in Inventor 2019.1, we carry on with the professional grade enhancements that's added in by Autodesk. We look at the connected workflow between the products and using third-party application data into Inventor. Also Inventor Experience, how do you experience Inventor with all these new functions and features, as well as accessing the update. So the update will be the updates 2019.1. So again, we find that Inventor 2019.1 release, it marks a step going forward with regards to professional 3D grade mechanical engineering design. There's some improved workflows here from sketching to complex model geometry, okay? As well as it supports lots of interoperability between distributed teams and teams working outside of the same office of each other. And again, if you look at the whole overall experience behind the enhancements, it makes it more from a productivity point of view, as well as flexibility of using the software. And a lot of these updates come from users themselves with regards to features they want to see and want to know about. So it's actually great that everyone gives feedback, right, on what features they want to experience or want to be enhanced in the next releases of Inventor. If we look at some of the Inventor from 2019, we see that it was 2018, 2018.2, 2018.1, 2018.2, all the way to 2019.1. We see that there's quite a bit of changes that happened here with regards to professional grade design. So in 2018, we saw that there was a lot of enhancements made to large assembly design. And also there was enhancements to model-based definition for parts. That was introduced in that release. If you look at the AnyCAD side on the interoperability, we find that AnyCAD for Inventor was enhanced, BIM content creation, also mesh in drawings. So you were allowed to actually pull in mesh in your drawings, right, in 2018. And also the measure tool was improved, as well as the user interface. Now, if we look at some of the enhancements moving forward from that, we find that there was model-based definition for assemblies. Okay, iLogic was kind of was actually enhanced a bit with the triggers, as well as a drawing update and performance. In 2019, we found that there was, and also 2018.2, there was AnyCAD for Solid Edge, as well as the Inventor idea enhancement. So this is where you would add in your ideas, the idea station they call it. There was enhancements to that to make it more easier, more flexible for the guys to actually add in any information they needed to put in. If we look at some of the updates following that, all the way to the latest bit, you see that there's also iLogic updates that came in sheet metal multi-body, unfold rules. There were some updates in there. Also model-based definitioning, 3D PDF enhancements came in there. The AnyCAD for Fusion with that also came into Inventor, as well as there were a lot more ideas that came through, which sparked the release of Inventor 2019.1. Again, following the same workflow, we find that there's three main pillars here we look at: the professional grade design, the connected workflow, as well as the Inventor Experience as well. So let's kick off. Let's start off with the professional grade design. Now in here, we'll find that the first thing that's been enhanced quite a bit, and for the guys that use frame generators, it is the frame generator that's been enhanced. So if we look at it here, if we find that the frame generator, you see it on the inside in the screen, right? And on the right and left-hand side, sorry, you'll see the pre-2019.1 release. That's the preview of it. And so if we look at some of the major enhancements, so the insert command now has two frame selection enhancements. All right. Previously, the frame standard always defaulted to an ANSI. The latest uses the latest version of Inventor, which is Inventor 2019.1, uses standard, is the last standard that you used is now retained, so you don't need to go back and keep on changing that. So when you insert a frame member, there's no preview until you select the frame member size value. All right, so a default size value is now enabled, so you can start with the command itself. The sketch visibility is another one. If we look at this, the sketch selected edges, okay, are visible now when you use the change or reuse edit commands, right? Also, the change member selection, that's also been enhanced. So previously, the window selection was not available, sorry, when you use the change command. All right, so now in the 2019.1, you find that the window selection is now enabled, so you can select multiple members at the same time using the multi-select option, which is really great, right? Also, from a preview side of it, the preview operation has also been enhanced quite a bit. You can now preview some changes. So if you do a mitre, for example, you could preview the change. If you do a notch to a frame, you can do that. Also trim to frame and also shorten. So you can see that the edit commands or the edit tools that's available there have been enhanced, right? Also, if you look at the properties of it, you can now copy information from existing frame members when you use the insert and change member commands. And what this allows you to do is actually not only choose the member to copy only one frame member, but also choose the orientation or you could select for both of them. Now, I've got a video that explains this quite nicely, and we can have a look at it now. So in here, firstly, we look at the modification of members. We'll use a trim extend, right, to face, and you can see the little preview that shows up there, all right? Even if member here, and by selecting the members, you can see previews that come in. So there is a question here. Oh, sorry guys, I see there is a issue with the audio. Just give me a second. All right, just give me a second there. Can you all hear me now? Is the audio much better? Okay, can everyone hear me? If there's any questions or if there's any issues with audio, please let me know. Okay, sorry guys, sorry about that. My apologies. I know there were some issues with the audio. I hope everyone can hear me quite clearly now. Okay, if there's any issues with the audio, please let me know in the chat box and we can have that resolved. All right, just to recap or forward to where we were, we look at Inventor 2019 and 2019.1. And this release, we find that there's some enhancements made to the some of the functions that was previously released in 2019, and we're going to go through some of them, but keeping in the same order of the professional grade design, connected workflows, as well as the Inventor Experience. Now you'll find that there's some really cool enhancements that's been made, and it's a really nice way to actually show off some of these enhancements. Now, when we last stopped and got disturbed, unfortunately, I must apologize for the sound and for the audio. There was a technical glitch on my side. So we looked at the first step, which was the professional grade design. And in this area of, or in this pillar, we find that the first bit we look at is the frame generator. So there's some enhancements that have been made to the frame generator. First enhancement is the insert. So the insert command now has two new frame selection enhancements that's added to it. So the first one is previously when you selected a frame, the standard always defaulted back to ANSI, right? So now what happens is it defaults back to the last standard that you use. So the last standard is now retained. Also, when you insert frame members, there's no preview until you select the frame member size value. Okay, default size value now is entered when you start the command, so you could actually see what the command, what the frame looks like. Now, if you look at the screen on the left-hand side, this is before the 2019.1 update, and just right to that, you'll find what it looks like now with the 2019.1 update. All right. The sketch visibility and sketch reuse is also updated. So the skeleton sketch edges are visible when you use or use a change, reuse, edit commands. The change member selection. So here again, previously window selection was not available when you use the change command. Window selection is now enabled, okay, and you can select multiple members at the same time using the multi-select option, which is very cool. If you look at the preview side of it, there is some updates in there as well. And what's really nice about this is there are a couple of changes or enhancements that have been made, especially with the edit side of it. So if you use the miter, notch, or trim to frame, as well as the lengthen and shorten command, you find that the previews are now available to you, right? You can also copy information from existing frame members when you use the insert and change member commands, okay? And what this allows you to do is allows you to copy the information of existing members. So it saves you time from re-entering it. Now, let's have a look at what this looks like. So here you find that we're on the trim, okay, or extend to face command. And if we select the members to edit, you find that there's a little preview showing up there in a different color. So what this allows us to do is it allows us to actually preview what changes are happening or what changes are going to happen before we execute the command. So if you go OK, you see that it has executed the command for us, which is really great because instead of us going back and forth on it, it's a nice way to actually edit the members that we want to work on. So next, we find that there's some enhancements to the Content Center itself. All right, so the Content Center toolbar, okay, it's more modernized. You'll see there it looks a bit different to what it previously looked like. Okay, it's got a bit of a modernized look to it. Also, the Inventor performance and productivity enhancements on the Content Center has been improved quite a bit. So you can quickly open up libraries from a remote Vault server, right? With the 2019.1 enhancements, so the guys that are using Vault will love this because the new Content Center cache, memory cache, is implemented here, and it has been improved quite a bit. So it remembers, it keeps memory in the cache of what items you pulled out from the Content Center. Also, migration has been improved. So previously, pre-configured libraries, you would need to use the update tool and migrate the library, okay, from the template files. And now you can use the tool, the update tool, to migrate the Content Center of legacy libraries into the current version of Inventor. Okay, as you can see on the screen there's a couple of ways of doing that, and you're seeing it from a preview point of view. You can see what it looks like. So you can select a specific library and you can upload it there. And you've also got a little tree on the side that you can actually see what's going on. The search enhancements is where the tree comes in. So you've got a quick search function that's been added in here. And the quick search field in the Place from Content Center dialog box, as you can see on the upper side of the screen, this allows you to instantly enter information in the search field without having to select the search field again and keep on looking into it, right? The second one is the advanced search. You've got the look in field now that automatically populates, and you could actually go in and do a bit of an advanced search for Content Center. Now, often we find that if we're using standard Content Center, there's quite a bit of libraries. But when we start using customized Content Center and we add a lot more libraries into it, it becomes timeous in going in and finding the correct part that we're looking for from the Content Center. In addition to this, we've also got the Search Now button that's automatically enabled, all right, when accessing the advanced search dialog box. So this allows you to quickly execute your search by just pressing the Enter key after, of course, specifying a specific search criteria, right? And the search results field displays information relative to the search that you're looking for. You've also got the locate parts and family tables in the graphics window. Okay, so in here you also see that the context menu options are a bit more streamlined in locating parts and the way you find the parts as well, right? And there's also component find in editor tab that's also enhanced in this. So the Content Center edit dialog box opens up the location of the part in the Content Center library, which is great, right? And there's also component edit view family table. And what this does is allows the family table editor dialog box to open up with the family member selected. You can view or a read-only family member table or view and edit read-write family table, right? So what this allows is to actually view or edit that family table, which is quite nice. Next, we look at the iLogic side of it. So with regards to iLogic, there's some enhancements, and we'll find that some of these enhancements were made in 2019, 2018.2 as well. Were some nice enhancements that was made there. But in 2019.1, we find that there was also quite a bit of enhancements that were made to iLogic as well, right? Let's look at what this means. Okay, and in this side here, we find that the support for iLogic logging and rule tracing. So iLogic now provides a type of print statement that you can use in rules. Okay, this new functionality called iLogic logging uses new iLogic functions to send log messages to a new Inventor panel and also to a log file. Okay, in addition to a new automatic rule tracing mechanism. The rule tracing helps you to visualize when and where and why, sorry, the rule is run. So you could actually see it in there, as you can see it on the screen there. The logging is on, and you can look at the trace as well, where the rule has been run and why. So just an overview of it. To generate iLogic logs, you also there's a specific workflow that you got to follow. Of course, there's some you got to click on that sign first in the browser and select it from there. And you can also pick it up on the ribbon as well, the iLogic log. So you can see it's an added function in the ribbon. Previously, you just had model and iLogic. Now you can look at the iLogic logs there. The output of it, of course, appears on inside of the graphics user interface, the graphics window, and you can also, from the drop down, you can see that there's different methods that you could choose. You could choose trace, debugging, and errors and so forth in there. All right, this is a really nice feature to actually debug files as well as looking at the rule tracing that you're working on. The next bit we look at is the connected workflow of it. So inside of the connected workflow, we've got the first one is the AnyCAD. All right, so the AnyCAD updates in here, 3 annotations are, in the AnyCAD update, we find that the translations have been updated, firstly for SolidWorks. Mesh data from SolidWorks can now be imported and imported into Inventor. And in the dialog box, object filters, you just got to check in the mesh option, which includes mesh from selected file, and for information about working with mesh data as well. All right, so you can see that when you're translating the file or bringing the file in, that mesh option is available to you now. With regards to step files, you can now import step files again with updated graphical PMI data, okay, from step 242, just by checking the graphics PMI option in the translation box or the import box in there, as well as AnyCAD performance. All right, so the performance have been improved for non-native Inventor files. Okay, so we found that a lot of users use different applications or import different application files into Inventor and need that to be quite enhanced. And you find in this 2019.1 enhancements, it's actually quite nice for translating these files because it makes it a lot more easier to work with. All right. If we look at collaboration, which is next, we find that 3D annotations are now supported in shared views and also Fusion Team, okay, in the viewers. All right. 3D annotations are not visible when you create the view. When you create the view, are excluded. All right. So the create view excluded. If you bring that in, that's not visible there. The explode command in the shared view or Fusion Team causes annotation to separate from the model or edges. Okay. So if the assembly is in express mode and that's enabled, the PMI information is exported to a shared view, and that's where you'd find that. That's actually quite nice because I'm not sure if you guys have used shared views before or explored it. This is a nice way to actually share the model data with the model-based definition data as well with it. So that's a nice enhancement. All right, the next one is if we look at the whole command in the Inventor Experience, and you'll find in here that if we go into the Inventor Experience, the first one that's been modified or enhanced quite a bit is the whole command. All right, and with regards to the whole command, there's a couple of new functions and enhancements that's been added into Inventor 2019.1. Okay, firstly is the tooltips. All right, the value displays parameter names in tooltips. Okay, so value fields are now displayed in parameter names of the tooltips. So when you pause the cursor over the parameter, name display the name displays with the value, right? As you can see in there, right? The next is the panel menu. The whole command has the new entries to the panel menu. The pre-select sketch center points. Okay, so checking this option causes all unused sketch center points in the active sketch to automatically be selected by the for use in the whole command. And what this does is it allows you to populating each other from the center point with the whole that's existing, right? There's automatically share sketch. So this is on by automatic or default, right? And what this does is when you're using the whole command, if unused sketch center points exist, when you click apply, the sketch is automatically shared, right? So for you the next one. So if you do not want to use it or you don't want to use a function, all you got to do is click on escape or cancel, and this will actually kill the command, and the sketch would not be shared. You can also share a sketch manually by right-clicking the sketch browser node, and by clicking share sketch, which we used to do previously as well. So if you click on the browser, right-click and go share sketch, that still exists. There's also the value edit feedback. All right. So for the whole command, when a value is invalid, for example, if the length is larger than the whole depth, the value color turns red, right? And the tooltip reports the value is invalid when you're entering the value. So that's actually quite a nice function as well. It kind of gives you that warning bit as well when you're working with the perhaps with a sketch that doesn't meet the criteria of Inventor. Also, I'm not sure if anyone has noticed this, but there's the What's New button there that allow on the ribbon. And what this does is it highlights what's new with regards to the new features. So it's a great way to actually see the versions that goes back. So perhaps you're working on 2018 and moving to 2019. When you select the What's New function, it'll show you exactly what's been new in in-house. So I think this is a really nice add-in to actually look at. And if we look at the feedback in production data, all right, so there's some enhancements in here, right? So selection view as default, okay, so model selection views. So when you install Inventor, you have the chance to opt in or opt out in the data collection activity, right? Based on the Inventor data usage, the half section view is, of course, most commonly used, right, in assemblies and part models. Therefore, with the 2019.1 update, the section view, command will be defaulted to half section view, right, in it. And for the first use of Inventor session, so if you're using it for the first, if you're using that half section view for the first time, with regards to when you update Inventor, that will be the default selection, right? And what this does is allows us to actually, keep data of how we're working and what we're more inclined to use often. There's also breadcrumbs. So breadcrumbs is a feature that allows you to actually do edits without switching back to the model or killing the command, in other words. and you can edit the feature and sketch names from within the property panel. All right, and if you click the breadcrumb text you want to edit, you can edit and activate that. Right, if you click it again and enter the edit mode, you can go ahead and modify the text that you're working on. Okay, there's also some presets that's allowed there. So tolerance presets. So presets are now stored tolerance information for the value fields. So you can access the tolerance dialog box from the field layout menu, as you can see on the screen here. And you can revert to no tolerance value, set the tolerance value, or type in a default tolerance value and have that as a preset. So as you can see, these are time-saving tips as you can work with it. As you work with the data. The next, I'm going to show you what this looks like. So in here, let's look at the whole command first. You can see there's a selected center point, or there's automatic center point for the shared sketch bit of it. And if we go into this, we can see that the sketch there, the breadcrumb bit, where you can actually go in and make edits and change the names to that, and without exiting the command. Let's have a look at this. So you can rename that in there. You can go in and click the center point, and you can choose the type of hole that you want to insert into the command. Of course, the size. And there's the warning that comes up in red, right? So it gives you a warning saying that it's smaller. And once you modify the size, you can see it defaults back to being okay. So the next bit is looking at the previewing the 1D tolerance stack up. So this is still available on the beta site of Autodesk. So it's still in preview at the moment. It's a 1D tolerance advisor. So it's a tolerance analysis exclusive for the subscription users. And what this does is, by using the Inventor tolerance analysis, users can better understand the accumulation of 1D dimension part to part stacking up in an assembly, and provides a graphical representation and detailed report. Okay, this is available on preview only for now until the end of September. So I would, if you guys want to check this out, I would recommend going on to beta.autodesk.com and actually registering for this beta version of this tool, and check it out on how it works. And of course, after that, provide feedback on how the tool works, and if it's successful, it will be implemented in the next, perhaps in the next releases of Inventor. So what does this look like, and how does it look? In there, you see you've got the tolerance advisors that come in, so the model-based definition tolerancing. This is what the tools looks like, the tolerance stack up, and you can see the tolerance in an assembly environment, and you could add in and do modifications to that, right? Which is quite great and quite nice, especially in the assembly environment. Okay, and that's what the preview looks like. So if you guys wanna look at it or play around with it, it's a really nice way to actually test this and give feedback. And if it's successful, the tool will be implemented as mentioned in newer releases. And coming back to the bit of the webinar, looking at accessing these updates. So how do we access the update? You'll find that the desktop app that installs when you install Inventor, that shows up on your in Windows on your desktop at the bottom on your toolbar. Whenever there's an update, you see that little red little indicator on the icon of the A icon, and that indicates there's an update available. I would recommend being signed into this at all times, because when there's updates, it notifies you here. As well, it's good practice and nice ways to manage the product itself. Accessing the update, again, you can also access it from your Autodesk account itself. and download it from there. And a nice way to actually see how, if you've got the update, is if you go to the help inside of the Inventor application. If you go to help about Inventor, Inventor Professional 2019, you'd find that it's got the build version at the bottom. It should say Inventor 2019.1, or if it's not up to date, it'll say just Inventor 2019. So thank you for taking the time to spend this morning listening to the updates or the enhancements that added to Inventor 2019.1. It was a really short, quick overview of what you can expect and see in this build. If there's any questions, you can always email me or get in touch. My email address is Daniel, DANEEL @bakerbaines.com. Alternatively, you can give us a shout at the office, and we'll be glad to assist you with any questions that you have. I'm going to open up the questions panel now, if for any questions anyone has. And what you can do is you can type in a question in the message box and we can answer them. Alternatively, you can get in contact with me afterward if you have a discussion, or you want to see how we can access these updates, or if there's any questions on the update itself as well. Okay, so if there's any questions, please type them in. Alternatively, we can always catch up offline. The other thing I want to make mention is we've got Autodesk University Africa coming up on the 24th and 25th of October at the forum in Bryanston. It's a really, really nice event. It's hosted 2 days this year, and there's a lot of classes on different aspects of manufacturing, infrastructure, plant, as well as the build environment. So if you have interest in those, or if you work with in those environments, or there's a cross between the two, it's a really, really nice event to attend. It's very technical this year. There's a lot of technical classes. There's a lot of hands-on sessions. And again, as mentioned, it's based over 2 days. So there's a lot more content to go through. I would really recommend you join it. You can pop me a mail afterward if you want to know more information about it, and I can send you the invites for it. So no questions? Give it a minute more. All right, thank you very much for attending. You can look forward to the next webinar that's coming up next week. We're hosting a Plant 3D webinar, and then following that, we're going to be doing something on Inventor HSM. So machining or CAM for Inventor. You can look out for that as well. Thank you very much. If there's any questions, please again feel free to give me a shout or email me, and I'll be able to assist you or answer those questions. Thank you. Have a good weekend and have a great day ahead. Sorry.